Some of the inspiration was my grandmother, and I thought I was going to get the time to talk to her about my trip to Haiti and come back to her, and she actually passed away shortly after my trip back. I didn't have time to, I figured I won't have funds to make both trips in a year, like New York and Haiti. That's where she lived, and then she passed away, and I was like, no! And that sort of pushed me, it drove me to make the album. Trump's election also drove me to record the album. I think he got elected a few days before I played this show where for these songs, and my label was like, you should record these. You should really record these. I think so you have something to say today with these songs, even though they're very old. I was really much inspired by different songwriters that I cover. Like some of the songs are folkloric and are very old, but some of the songs, despite being old, are actually written by specific people at the time of the occupation or a little bit after, to sort of reflect on Haitian solidarity and the resilience of the people. So people like Franz Cassius, who's one of the best guitarists, who was one of the best guitarists alive, who was teacher to some amazing guitarists, actually, Marc Ribot, a famous jazz guitarist as well. Ludovic Lamotte, who basically created an anthem to celebrate the departure of the Americans, which is called Nibo, and it's based on a divinity that is a spirit of a teenager that died violently and who comes back as a spirit to exert vengeance. So yeah, I was just inspired by the spirit, the resilience, and the quirkiness of Haitian people with regards to military occupation. Like you don't think people would react that way. You don't think that the humor is so dark, and yet some people say like the songs are so dark and yet they sound so jovial. I'm like that's my mother's humor. That she'll say something really really dry and dark, and she'll have the best cackle, and you'll think it's like a light joke, but it's quite tinged in sadness. Yeah. So much music. I'm listening to so much music all the time.
Maybe that's a better question. What's in your playlist right now?
Right now, I need to look at my phone. But on my phone, I'd say there's Sudan Archives, there's Lido Pimienta, there's Kali Uchis, Jamila Woods, Kendrick Lamar. There's also, I went to Colombia for a month for residency last year, and I was already a fan of this band, but then I met the guy behind the band, Iblis Alvarez, and the band's called Meridian Brothers, and it sounds, at some points it sounds like Ethio jazz, but with electronica, and it's the craziest music I've heard in 10 years. Wow. The craziest music I've heard in 10 years is that. Colin Stetson, because I love instrumental music that is sort of disturbing at the same time. It just sort of makes like the hair stand on your arm. I don't have very hairy arms, so. But still, so those are things that I'm listening to. I also listen to my friends, and I was thinking this is the kid, because she sent me her album before it came out, and I started listening to it on because I love folk music as well. So I don't know, it's hard. Oh, and also le tout puissant orchestre polyrythmo, which is West African like rumba, like African rumba, West African rumba from like the 60s. And they're a big band, and the rhythms are so cool that we were asked to do a cover recently of The Weeknd, and I asked my drummer to take a rhythm, like to be inspired from the rhythm from that band for a cover. And it sounds great, because it's everything's there. So I can go almost anywhere with my music influences. It just has to be sort of peculiar. Oh, Flying Lotus, and his aunt, Alice Coltrane, Eartha Kitt. I love to work with dancers. Pina Bausch, took a Pina Bausch dance class. Miriam Makeba, Martha Jean-Claude, so I can learn. Mostly I like to just learn from people. If I can learn from as many people as possible and just like wake up their spirits and be like, come on, got to give you some guidance.